In this 2018 DD session, Zach Johnson breaks down the tools and technology the asymmetric publications team used to make West of Loathing. Johnson goes over the design, art, and writing of West of Loathing, and how they enabled the creative team to work as quickly and as flexibly as possible. It was an insightful talk that's definitely still worth watching, so developers should not miss the opportunity to do so now that it's freely available on the official GD YouTube channel. In addition to this presentation, THEGDC Vault and its accompanying YouTube channel offers numerous other free videos, audio recordings, and slides from many of the recent game developers conference events, and the service offers even more members-only content for DD Vault subscribers. Those who purchased all access passes to recent events, like DD Vault, already have full access to DD Vault, and interested parties can apply for the individual subscription via the DD Vault subscription page. Group subscriptions are also available. Game-related schools and development studios who sign up for DD Vault Studio subscriptions can receive access for their entire office accompanied by contacting staff via THEGDC Vault Group subscription page. Finally, current subscribers with access issues can contact DD Vault technical support. In purely mechanical terms, Ni no Kuni 2 is basically a collection of mini-games. You might expect this to spoil the overall experience, but something about Ni no Kuni 2 helps to make it more than just the sum of its parts, tied together by a strong story. This collection of mini-games becomes a masterpiece which overcomes the limitations of genre. You play Ni no Kuni 2 as the deposed prince of Ding Dong Dell, Evan Petty Wiscotudrum, founding a kingdom called Evermore. You start by ruling a ragtag band of brigands and pirates, but ultimately bring peace to the world by uniting the realms of Goldpaw, Hydropolis, Broadleaf, and your native Ding Dong Dell under a constitution called the Declaration of Interdependence. You may want to look that one over again, because you probably did not read it right. Assuming the role of a great king, you are naturally expected to slay monsters, lead armies, and govern your capital. You go about this by completing a series of surprisingly diverse mini-games, because their mechanics are drawn from a variety of different genres. The only thing which truly ties this together is their consistency with the central narrative. The development studio behind Ni no Kuni 2 borrowed mechanics from the fighting, real-time strategy, and management genres to create these mini-games, firmly couched in their fantasy setting. Each mini-game helps to create an overall experience which defies the typical categories of game design. You assume the role of a deposed prince. The combat system is clearly inspired by the fighting genre, taking place within a strictly defined space. Combat basically consists of an isolated round-on match in which your party squares off against a variety of possible opponents. In terms of tactics, you have both melee and ranged options. Rushing headlong at your enemies, you can defeat them with a combination of quick and charged attacks, but you can also keep your distance in order to whittle away their hit points with arrows, bullets, or spells. The combat system even has an equivalent to randomized item pickups, benefiting from their offensive and defensive abilities. You can bring what are called higgledies into battle with you. These are probably best described as fairies. They normally just roam around the combat arena, but higgledies periodically gather together to prepare a powerful attack which you can activate by approaching their position. They will sometimes heal your party members. 2. The combat draws from beat 'em up and fighting games, borrowing from the real-time strategy genre. Skirmish battles put you in command of a small army. Your objective is to capture and hold a series of control points. Managing a resource called might. You need to be careful about how your forces are deployed, though. You can earn more by defeating enemies, but you will need to spend some if you are ever compelled to call for reinforcements. In other words, the best way to keep from running out of might is to have a solid strategy. There are sword, spear, hammer, and bow units in the game, so you need to figure out the order of battle, which best dances to the strengths and weaknesses of each class. You can take up to 4 units of any class into battle with you. Since they have different special abilities, you will definitely want to think hard about your build. Special abilities can turn the tide of battle when they are used effectively. Air strikes, for example, can be absolutely devastating. Skirmish battles have you leading a small army. You get to govern your capital whenever you are in Evermore. Borrowing from the management genre, this consists of building facilities, organizing citizens, and assigning research. Facilities generate a currency called King's Goodies over time, so you have to figure out the most effective way to maximize your income through investment. When you have saved up enough King's Goodies, you can either purchase land or upgrade existing facilities. They provide you with a lot more income once they have been fully upgraded. But expansion is definitely in your best interest. You can squeeze even more King's Goodies from facilities by staffing them with citizens and performing research. So the optimal growth strategy is almost always a balanced approach. You can increase their staff size by upgrading them, but facilities are only allowed so many upgrades. You will, in other words, need to be acquiring land for new facilities on a fairly regular basis. Your citizens are only good for much when they are working. You have to manage your capital whenever you are not adventuring. Spend enough time playing Need No Kuni 2, and you will notice that it borrows mechanics from several different genres. While it definitely draws from role-playing games, puzzlers, and even a bit from platformers, Ni no Kuni 2 leans most heavily on the fighting, real-time strategy, and management genres. These were used by level 5 to create the mini-games, which make up most of the overall experience. You solve more than a few puzzles. Some segments have you platforming, while you could probably call it a collection of mini-games. Ni no Kuni 2 is definitely more than just the sum of its parts. What keeps it from feeling cobbled together, since they are perfectly consistent with its fantasy setting. The surprisingly diverse mini-games, which make up Ni no Kuni 2, come together to create an overall experience which overcomes the limitations of genre, while many developers would have done the reverse. Level 5 in this case allowed the story to inform the choice of mechanics. What could be more natural for a great king than slaying monsters, leading armies, and governing his capital, defying the typical categories of game design? The result was a masterpiece which truly makes you think differently about genre. This article was reproduced from Overcoming Genre, posted to Sloran on January 9th.
2019
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star Alfonso Ribeiro is suing Epic Games for allegedly stealing a dance he popularized and recreating it in Fortnite. The actor played a character called Carlton Banks in The Fresh Prince back in the 90s, and during his time on the show, became well known for performing an iconic dance move that's since been dubbed the Carlton. As reported by the Huffington Post, Ribeiro claims Epic knowingly misappropriated his dance by replicating and selling it in Fortnite is the Fresh emote, with the name itself being an obvious reference to television show. It is widely recognized that Mr. Ribeiro's likeness and intellectual property have been misappropriated by Epic Games in the most popular video game currently in the world, Fortnite, wrote Ribero's attorney, David Hatch. Epic has earned record profits off of downloadable content in the game, including emotes like Fresh. Yet Epic has failed to compensate, or even ask permission from Mr. Ribeiro for the use of his likeness and iconic intellectual property. Hatch says Ribeiro is now seeking a fair and reasonable share of the profits Epic has earned through selling the dance move. The attorney is also representing another artist in a similar lawsuit against Epic, with rapper Melee also suing the studio for using his signature MIDI rock dance move without permission. Meanwhile, TMZ is reporting that Russell Honing, a K.A. backpack kid, has just filed a lawsuit against Epic for stealing his iconic dance move, the Floss.